and welcome to this very sad live stream because Max will be driving his number 33 again. Oh dear, dear. Qualifying is still going on, so far we've only got Eva here. Oh, the sound is already off. No. So, how are we all doing? Let me turn this off as well. Piastri has provisional pole at this minute. For the championship, it would be fun if he won the race tomorrow to get close again. Let's see how that last run will go for everybody. Hi, Samantha. Hi, Hank. I can't believe that Max is out of Q1 in P16. Nothing worked. Holy moly. So I changed my Twitter profile picture to have the blurbs on it. The Lando Norris blurbs. Just as a joke. But yeah, you know, it was coming. He needed Max and Red Bull needed to be perfect for the rest of the season, and yeah, no team has been perfect for 4 or 5 races in a row. So yeah, it's not surprising that it didn't happen. But yeah, it's shocking. Like, they made all these changes. They made a lot of changes after the sprint race, and it just completely backfired. Oliver Behrman had the quickest time in Q1 and Q2, but I don't think he's going to get pole, which would have been amazing. Charles Leclerc has the quickest first sector, but Norris is already a tenth down on Oscar Piastri's lap. Hey, Brains Matter. Nice to see you again in a live stream. Leclerc is on provisional pole, but Norris is going to get it. But where's Piastri? Okay, Oscar Piastri's just started. Because Brains Matter is here, so we're going to root for Oscar. Oscar. Hank says maybe Red Bull expects rain and showers and therefore made those changes. Maybe. Hoping. Yeah. It's you need to have a good car to drive in the rain as well. Stage P3. Hodger P4. The Racing Bulls are P4 and P5, and the Red Bulls were out in Q1. Holy cow. So see what Kimi does. P2. Wow, Kimi Antonelli really found his groove. Jeez. Okay, I can turn it off now. Where's the remote? Ah, here. Hey, Jasper. No, it's not gonna rain. I don't think so. So, hello Vegas. Spooky surfaces, excellent sensory driving conditions. Yeah. Yep, all kinds of wind, slippery track, and a very surprising outcome of the qualifying. But unfortunately, this is the first time since 7-8 years that Max Verstappen is out in Q1 without any major issues or grid penalties. Now, I've heard people say this on Twitter before, but they're definitely going to put in a new engine just to get that sorted. Hello, Fibbit a bit. Brains Matter says Verstappen was 17th last year in the rain. Yeah, and everybody hyped up Brazil for Max, but he even started believing in it a little bit himself. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be, and it's just this little tick in form, this uptick in form a couple of races ago, 2 wins in a row, 1 dominant one. It all gave us hope again for that 5th title. But yeah, basically, we knew it was over when Max said like 10 races ago that he wasn't going to win another race. Hello, Christina. Hello, Aoife. I'm looking a little blurry again. How did I fix that the last time? I wonder if this is better. That'll take the flare away. I hope this is better. Comrade. Hello, comrade. At this point, break the part for me as well and change the setup. This car is so bad. Lol. Yeah, yeah. There's no difference in starting P16 for Max or starting from the pit lane. You know. Um. Jasper says, "How do you fix a car that's broken, but you don't know what to look for?" Exactly. Like GP asked Max, um, "Is there anything we can do to help you?" And Max said, "I don't know what to say at this point." So yeah. Oh well. Fibberabit says, Yoss just hijacked Max's airplane just to leave him there. Gas station settings. Yeah, I know. Those days are over. But he left the garage very quickly to not be filmed having a hissy fit. Um, but yeah, it's just very disappointed. It's very disappointing. Um, but yeah, you know, what else can we say about Max? Um, like after the sprint, I was counting my blessings as well. You know, it was like, okay, he lost 3 points to Norris, which isn't too bad, and he gained 5 points on Oscar Piastri, so that gap is 30 points. But yeah, like if Max wants to stay into the fight, then both McLarens need to DNF tomorrow, which I'm saying is not impossible, but it's very very unlikely. Like um, both drivers realize that they need to shake off Max first, and then they'll fight each other. And tomorrow is a brilliant opportunity to get rid of Max. Like if Lando Norris wins tomorrow and Max scores 1 point, maybe Max finishes 10th, um, then the gap is 63 points. Yeah. Yeah, that's impossible to fix. Eva says Zach has bribed Laurent Mekies. Okay. I think Mekies was really happy to get that job. I don't think he needs a job at McLaren right now. Yep, Christina, also welcome back, number 33. What can you do? Okay. I just sharpened the image, Samantha. But yeah, I can see the freckles on my arm, Samantha. So it was a little bit too sharp. Brains Matter is having a nice chat with Jasper. Okay. And Hank says, it was said in the international feed the RB21 had more suspension compliance than in sprint qualifying. With rain showers, it could turn around. Yeah, that's a possibility. Christina says Nepo Baby stole all of Oscar's mojo, and with Nepo Baby, you're probably talking about Adam Norris's son, not Oscar. Um, and Eva says Oscar is over since that much was clear ever since Monza. I think the little tap in Singapore that killed Oscar's mojo. Like he was so surprised that was allowed, and then all the repercussion nonsense afterwards, like that was all just talk, and it became clear that if McLaren was going to go for a driver, if you put a gun to their head and they had to pick a driver, they all pick Norris because he's there for the longest time. And I think that just destroyed Oscar's confidence. And yeah, like Lando Norris has been bottling a lot of races at the start of the season, but he stopped doing that, you know. And yeah, when you stop bottling and your teammate doesn't score as many points, then you start making a gap. Hello, Tanvir. Quali really made me sad. Yeah, it made me sad for a little bit as well. But by the time Q2 was over, I was over it. Because you can't win them all, you know? And the next championship Max is going to win is going to feel extra nice. Christina says, poor Oscar. And Brains Matter says, BOFH. I don't know what that means. I'm so bad with abbreviations. Stella said that Oscar's car had a technical issue pre-Brazil to the press. So read into that what you will. A driver doesn't lose half a second to his teammate for no reason. Yeah. Yeah, it is weird that happens. And like Adam Norris with his investment group, that they put in like $44 million in over a time span of 7 years. So yeah, it's obvious that they're gonna go to that side of the garage a little bit more. Richard, you know him here on my stream as God, I forgot his user's name. But anyway, he said that Oscar has started handing out envelopes in to the people on his side of the garage to yeah, to gain a little bit more help. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh. Basset operator from hell. Both H. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Oh yeah, Richard, my little brother. His name is Gentilis. Samantha, text him. See if he wants to join. So yeah, what are we going to discuss? The sprint race. How did that all go for you? I'm always a little bit disappointed to not see Lando Norris lose any positions after the start. And at one point, I thought it was a pity that Antonelli was behind him rather than Russell, because Russell is a little quicker in race trim and is a little feistier, I think, than Antonelli. But yeah, Antonelli beat Russell twice in qualifying now, and tomorrow's probably going to be the same thing. Antonelli can do the funniest thing ever tomorrow by doing what he did to Leclerc and Verstappen as well, and take Lando Norris out. Yeah, let's do a little poll. That's always interesting. Who will win race? Max? There we go. Oh, there he is. There's Gentiles. I was just talking about you, about the joke you made about um, Oscar Piastri handing out brown envelopes to his side of the garage, and there's no Ron Dennis to stop him. Okay. Eva says this is Kimmy's first time ever to race at Interlagos. Stunning. Well, it's so nice to see that guy getting into his form, and yeah, he can really do something that none of the rookies have done, and that's score a P2 or a win. So that was amazing. Comrade says, I'm sure Kimmy didn't forget his debt to Verstappen. Oh, Jasper, what's your option? George Russell? The original BOF 8 series was a riot. I've never heard of it. Tanvir says, practically all championship hopes are over. Yeah, well, there's always next season. Christina, Kimmy is surprisingly great at tracks he's never raced on and surprisingly bad at tracks he drove hundreds of laps. Yeah, he's never all that good in Italy, is he? Yeah, brains matter. That's true. He has the highest ranking car underneath him, but then that brings a lot of pressure as well. And usually those cars are not that easy to drive, as you can see at a Red Bull. Hank says voted Lando, but it's Interlagos. Weather systems are very local. It's true, because I saw Instagram reels of people almost blowing off the stands, and then I put on the pre-race show, and yeah, they were standing there in almost sunlight in sunny weather. So it is always a little bit different. Yeah, I'll look it up after the live stream, Eva. The bastard operator from hell. Okay. Half of you think Lando's going to win. 33% says Kimmy. 17% says Max. Those are the real diehards. And nobody thinks Oscar. Okay, let's do another poll. Who should... So I'm doing another poll here. Okay, are you ready for the new poll? Gentile says, it was encouraging that Lando couldn't get away from the Mercs and Max. No. But that's not going to do him any good tomorrow. Starting from the pit lane. Brains Matter says, I would love Hulk to get a surprise win and Lando and George to take each other out. So, guys, I wanted to talk about what happened to me this week and how I nearly got cancelled. I know Christina have seen the tweet and the post I made on Threads, and maybe other people saw it as well. But this week it was very very low on news. Monday, Tuesday, and um, I was bored, and I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna pick on the Lando Norris girlies for a change. So I made up this tweet about how I never see any male Lando Norris fans, and I wondered what they are like, and that I understood why young girls supported Lando Norris, because he's the type of guy like Mark Owen was from Take That, and had this whole spiel about, you know, what Mark Owen was like in the '90s band Take That. And I thought, with all this nonsense that I built around it, I thought nobody was going to take that tweet seriously. Because there was another bit in it about how at the track I met a lot of guys with Lando Norris merch on, but they were either fathers of teenage girls or they were there to support their hot girlfriends. Yes? So, all in all, it was a really weird nonsense tweet, but it blew up. And immediately I got called out for misogyny, even though I said nothing wrong about the teenage girls supporting Norris or the guys who just shuffled along and supported their girlfriends supporting Norris. You know, I didn't make any nasty claims, but I just hinted that Lando Norris only had female fans and they knew nothing about the sport. But like I didn't factually do that, but they felt I implied it, and that's why it blew up. And I was called homophobic, and I was called misogynist, and at the same time, there was a lot of people telling me that I was a gay baldy, and I was a faggot, and well, you name it. All these people defending the Lando Norris girlies didn't mind being sexist and homophobic towards me. But anyway, that was fine. You know, that sort of did the trick that I kind of expected, except I didn't expect it to get like 250,000 impressions. But then a few celebrities started getting involved as well. There's a guy with a car YouTube channel with like 200,000 subscribers or something. The man's called Tiff Needle. Tiff Needle. I don't know how do you pronounce it. But he said, well, what about Norris just being a really good driver? And I said, yeah. Don't take my tweets too seriously. Take it with a pinch of salt. And then, out of all people, Mark Hughes, the writer of the book I have there, the book about Max Verstappen, Unstoppable, he said he called me out for using stereotypes and that I was caught up in stereotypes, and but he basically said that I was being a dick. So that kind of hurt because I've been in plenty of debates with Mark Hughes in there as well, and he never reacted to anything of mine. Serious talks about 80-21 or penalties or whatever. I always get ignored. And then the one time I place a ridiculous tweet with all kinds of nonsense, Mark Hughes reacts. But anyway, that's what I told him as well. I said, in all the years that I've been on Twitter, it's a pity that this is the thing that you react to instead of all my good stuff. Yeah. So I let it simmer down, and then the next day I regretted it all, and I posted an apology message saying what my intentions were, and that I actually didn't say anything bad about the fan bases, but I should have known better, that sort of thing. And that tweet didn't blow up, and I didn't get too much hate on it either. So that's all water under the bridge now. Although I have changed my profile picture to, you know how a lot of channels have these Lando Norris blurbs, the motive, the pattern he has on his helmet. I have that surrounding my face now as a joke. So, oh well. So, let me see what the people are saying about this. Hank says it's not about who crashes, but who he takes with him. Christina says, but I'm missing both papayas option. Hey, there's Australians here. Oscar Piastri is not going to crash. Jasper says, I am X-less. Oh, you don't use Twitter? Okay. Christina said, lol, you're very thin ice post. Yeah. But Christina, as a woman, did you think it was really bad? Oh, Hank saw it too. Yes. Samantha says, I told him to take cover when he posted it. Yeah. Hank says, cancellation is a real threat currently. Yeah, well, I've got less than 5,000 YouTube subscribers and I lost none of them. So, Brains Matter says, Lando fangirlies have no sense of humor, especially the rare male ones like on Sky's commentary team. Yeah. You know who else is always very fond of Lando Norris? It's Julian Palmer. Like, he's always brushing his mistakes under the rug and always praising him very highly. Brains Matter says, how's that misogynistic? No, I don't know. I don't know either. And Gentile says, Karen culture. Vegas says, cancel still a thing? I don't know the hip word for cancelling, but oh well. Brains Matter says, and where does any homophobia stuff come into it? Wow, they're worse than Lewis fans apparently. Well, Mark Owen, he's gay, so maybe that's where the homophobia came in. And Brains Matter says, Tiff Needle is one of the original Top Gear hosts. Really, is he the guy even before Jeremy Clarkson? Oh yeah, pre-May and Hammond. Okay, cool. Samantha says, that's where I knew the name from. Ex-touring car racer. Dyslexic Dutchie says, I never met a nice South African. I don't know where that comes from, but... And Hank says, stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. Well, that's true. Like, I sat in the stand, and there was, sitting behind me, at least 15 to 20 teenage girls. Yes? So, between 15 and 20. They didn't have the patience to watch all of qualifying. Yes? So they watched Q1, and every time Lando drove past, they went, Lando! And they came back at Q3. And then, yeah, they were happy he was in front. And then during the race, they watched the first 5 laps. And then they fucked off again, drinking gin and tonics. And then they came back. And, you know how they're hyping up the Academy series for women. Now, if that series, for that to be successful, it needs the support, especially from young women. But none of the women watched it. Only the guys, the petrol heads, stayed and they watched that Dutch Ferrari driver win the race. I think her name is Veug. Yeah. So, and then in 2024, the couple that is in my my vlog was this guy with this orange helmet, and he had printed out Lando on top of his helmet, and he was like, "Yep, I don't even like Formula One. I'm just here for her." And she was a diehard Formula One or the Lando Norris fan, but he tagged along for a nice weekend in Holland. So yeah, it's typical that these stereotypes exist, but you're not allowed to talk about it because people get offended. Brains Matter, you're saying surprised he reacted, thought he would have a sense of humor. He didn't really react in a nasty way. He just said, well, what about Lando Norris just being a really good driver? And that's why men support him. And yeah, that was all right. Fibbit a bit says, you wrote car 44 wrong. Yeah, there was a guy on Twitter laughing because Max ran out and he was P16. And then before Q2 even started, he tweeted, I may have shot myself in the foot here. And then Lewis Hamilton qualified P13. Okay, that's a discussion between you. Christina says, no, but I am 31 years old, Czech woman. Karen culture is not really strong here yet. Yeah. So Christina didn't mind my jokey tweet. Gentili says, for every negative comment, there are probably a lot more people who laugh at it. The negatives always stick out more. That's true. There's always this vocal minority who go mental. Jasper, see you later, buddy. Thank you for joining. Christina says, I love Ferrari social media lately. The Leclerc hate from LH Team LH is funny as fuck. Cannot wait to read all the conspiracies how Charles screwed Lewis quali today. Yeah, I saw that Charles spun on purpose just to screw Lewis over in the sprint qualifying. And this qualifying, I haven't read anything because I had to set up this this live stream. Dyslexic Dutchie. It's a song to upset people who don't listen to the actual message, just the implied one. Okay. I've never heard of that song. That's another thing I need to look up. I'm going to write it all down. I have to look up Bastard Operator from Hell and the song I Never Met a Nice Afrikaner or Dutchie, whatever. Okay, let's finish the poll here. Uh, 46 says Lando, 31% says car, number 4, and 23% says Norris. Okay, interesting. Oh, offended. If you're constantly offended, you're probably offensive. But I'm an asshole, so what do I do now? Vegas, you're not an asshole. I think you're brutally honest, and I like that about you. Guys, have you got a question that I can put into a poll? Is there a topic that we still need to discuss? Maybe I need to get the quality results up. F1 quality results. Okay, so the grid will be in P1, Lando Norris. In P2, Kimi Antonelli. In P3, Charles Leclerc. In P4, Oscar Piastri. In P5, a very big surprise, Isaac Hadjar. In P6, George Russell. In P7, Liam Lawson. P8, Oliver Behrman. He actually drove a quicker time in Q2 than Q3, which was unfortunate. In P9, another big surprise. I didn't know that. Pierre Gasly in his shitty Alpine. In 10, Nico Hülkenberg. Also a big surprise. That's a nice top 10. And definitely a top 10 where you can expect some action. P11, Fernando Alonso. P12, Alexander Albon. P13, Lewis Hamilton. In 14, Lance Stroll. P15, Carlos Sainz. P16, Max Verstappen. 17, Esteban Ocon. In 18, Franco Colapinto. 19, Yuki Tsunoda. And in 20, Gabriel Bortoleto, who had a massive, massive crash. So, Hank says the offended ones are offended enough to puke negativity everywhere. Christina says, Vegas, you and me both. I also love Dutch sarcasm. And Dutch honesty. Yep, I like that too. We don't beat around the bush. That's right, Richard. Aussies are very upfront as well. That's true, Brains Matter. Hank says, how quick will Zach Brown speak out his support for Lando as his first driver? Yeah, well, it all depends on the race result tomorrow. You know, if Oscar somehow manages to get in front of Lando, then the points difference is not going to be that big, and they won't be able to favor one driver. Only if the gap is like 30 points. But then again, who do they need to protect the championship from? Not from Max anymore, because he's barely going to score any points tomorrow. Like, I don't want to be a negative guy. Oh, that's maybe a good poll. Where is Max going to finish tomorrow? Outside points. P10. P6. I accidentally pressed the. I accidentally pressed enter, so I couldn't put P1 P2 in. Hey, thank you, Vegas. Thank you, sir. Gentiles, that is a very good point. Props should go to McLaren for making the best car this year. Seeing where they were at the start of 2023, like having to do 6 pit stops in Bahrain and just being completely the slowest car, to gradually building it up to the midfield, to podium positions at the end of 2023. Then in 2024, after 8 races, after the Miami upgrade, becoming a title contender and winning the constructors, to winning both prizes in 2025 is an amazing trajectory. And yeah, that is something to be very proud of. And Zach Brown with his sponsor money and hiring the right people, and Andrea Stella with his calm demeanor and putting everybody in their place, that they've done a hell of a job. The only thing that I can be negative about is the papaya rules nonsense. But then again, if they let them fight this way till the end of the season and one of them has the most points and they're okay with it and they don't fall out with each other over it, then I even have to give kudos for that, you know? Um, Gentili says, I would rather see Piastri win. Yeah, me too. Fox Sports also did an analysis post Singapore, and if not for team orders, Lando would only be a mathematical chance of overtaking Oscar. Okay. And Samantha is always so nice. She says, I would rather see Stroll win than Lando. I think I'm going to give you a timeout because Stroll should never drive a Formula One car again. Gentili says, I still believe in a miracle tomorrow. It ain't over until it's over. Well, it's nice to be positive, but I'm just gonna let it come all over me, the wave. Brains Matter says, I wonder what the constructors pecking order will be next year. Yeah, next year is gonna be crazy. Christina says, I will also be pissed if Mr. I can win a WDC by being nice. Admits he drives well, but that car is like 80% of that win. Yeah. Like, if you see what Max did in 2023 with a dominant car, winning 19 races, you know, like Max would have knocked it out of the park and would have had the championship 2 races ago if he was driving that McLaren. There's no doubt about it. Gentili says Max, Russell, and Piastri have been better drivers this season than Lando. Yeah, well, this uptick in form from Lando is pretty good. You can't deny how good he was in Mexico and here. So if he keeps this up and he doesn't do anything crazy tomorrow, and he keeps this form till the last race, then he's the deserved champion. Even though it pains me to say that. Samantha says, oh, I would like to see him at least get a podium before retiring, no matter how bad he is. You're still talking about Stroll. But I think Lance Stroll has 2 podiums. I think he scored a podium in Baku. I'm not exactly sure, but, he has a podium. And Aoife says, Adam Norris does nepotism better than Lawrence Stroll. Sad state of affairs. Yeah. So let me see what you guys voted for where Max is gonna finish. 45% still thinks P6 to P3, 33%, and 22% thinks outside of the points. Yeah. Somebody said Lando is a faster Stroll. Gentili says, no, I disagree with him. Lando has been incredibly lucky not to be farther behind than Piastri. Yeah, he was lucky with a few safety cars. And he got a position back from Oscar. But like the way Oscar Piastri is bottling his championship now with 2 crashes in 2 sprints and being really far off the pace. Lando hasn't had a dip like that. It's maybe 1 or 2 races, or like a yeah. I think overall the standings is fair. Eva says Lando has a faster car than Lance. That's all. Okay. But I remember Max giving Lando his props as well, saying that Lando is capable of winning a championship. Although I do feel that their relationship has cooled down a little bit. So, yeah. So guys, I haven't got any ideas yet for videos. Um I had a great October month, but yeah, I need to get into the flow again of posting regularly, and yeah, let's see what I can conjure up tomorrow after the race for a topic. Um, like I don't think I can do a really angry Max Verstappen video because I know Red Bull and Max have tried everything they could to get this weekend going again. Like, it was nice when Christian Horner was there, and you could blame him. I don't want to go down the whole Pierre Wache shit path again, because there were clearly races where the car worked just fine. Okay, brains matter. Sleep tight, and have a great race tomorrow or later today. Eva says, never mind the PR waffling to the media. Oh, the media. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, guys, make sure to like the live stream. Um, so yeah, if you guys have any ideas what I should make a video about, then you know, I'll take it into consideration. Um, but yeah, I think I would have got more views if Max was more into the running, because the more excitement there is, the more people are gonna watch the videos. Um, Also, there's one thing where F1 has hired a group or a business to have a look at YouTube content creators to see if they can copyright strike them. So in the last month or so, FP1 Will had like 15 of his videos uh, copyright striked, but he went into discussion with them, and that came out positive. But there's another channel called Yellister. Now, it's a channel I've never watched before, but he goes into really the technical side and has like 199,000 subscribers. And yeah, he received 3 strikes, and he's afraid that he's going to lose his whole channel. So that's something that the FOM is doing, which is not very nice. But yeah, like, I don't have to live off Formula One. I have my flower business. But still, I'd hate to see my channel banned. Hank says, the internal Mercedes battle an idea. I don't think that would get many views, but it is interesting how Russell got his contract, and then all of a sudden Antonelli starts outperforming him. It's like Russell is relaxing a little bit more. Eva says, enjoy the race tomorrow. Got a scoot. Okay, see you later, Eva. Thank you for joining. I'm going to quit in 5 minutes as well, maybe even earlier. I think we've discussed everything that we wanted to discuss. Dyslexic Dutch is that also why the FIA isn't showing the race actions? No, the FIA is the group of referees for the races, but the footage is done by a company hired by FOM, and FOM is Liberty Media, the owners of the rights to Formula One. So they're two different groups. And FOM, they own the footage. So if I use too much of it in my videos, then alarms will go off and I'll get a copyright claim. And then in my case, because my channel is still small, um, they'll just take the revenue from that video. So the couple of dollars that I make on the video goes to them, which I'm okay with. But these larger channels, I think the FOM feels that they're taking away revenue from them, from their YouTube channel, and that's why they're taking action. Even though there is such a thing as fair use, and yeah, it's complicated. I hope I never have to battle with those guys. Gentili says, I get that you can't plagiarize. However, that cracking down on F1 YouTubers is really discouraging, and I think it's a bad idea. You'd want more fan involvement if you want to keep the sport popular. That's true. Like IndyCar, they don't make an issue out of it at all. And yeah, FP1 will makes IndyCar race reviews as well, and he gets a lot of views on those as well, like always 50, 60k views. So yeah, FOM is just being awkward. Hank says, you lost your channel also, if I remember correctly. That's true, but that was just a complete accident. Yeah, for some reason it got flagged at YouTube, and then boom, it was taken off. And then I filled in the complaints, or that it needed to be reviewed, and 18 days later I got it back. But yeah, that's when I knew I really wanted to keep doing YouTube, because I really missed it. Christina says, Liberty Media sucks even for MotoGP. They're completely destroying joy from watching MotoGP. Yeah, and I think, all these new rules, all this new stuff that's getting implemented, shorter races and more sprint races, and maybe reverse grids and all that nonsense, that's all coming from Liberty Media, that want to conjure up as much excitement as possible for, fan engagement and shit. But the pure form of teams building a Formula One car within regulations and trying to get the fastest car, and then the drivers trying to get the most out of it, that's all getting lost by too many races, too many regulations, and too much weird stuff. So yeah, as for my channel, like, I'm a movie buff as well, so one day I'll start a movie channel as well. As soon as I've learned enough doing my Formula One channel, I'll start a film channel as well, and make one film review per week, or discuss an old classic. Hey Inge, how nice of you to join. It's a pity that I'm quitting in 1 minute. You're an hour late. Did you watch the after show of the qualifying? Because I'm going to watch that now. Right, people. I wish you all a very nice weekend and a great race tomorrow. Hopefully, Max can do something from where he's starting, and maybe the two McLarens will crash. But yeah, I shouldn't wish that for them. So, yeah, everybody take care now, and doei doei.